hope I got it right now. Hello, everybody. It's me, Shaw360. And in case you don't know what the title means, just because there is some abbreviation there, the title of this video is Devilman Crybaby and TAN. Because those are the only two things I want to talk about right now. I don't want to talk about anything else. I don't want to talk about the lackluster BLs I've been watching. I still don't want to talk about Rapmon's album, even though I'm going to get to it. I promise I will. I just haven't got the time to go on Rap Genius right now, so that's why I haven't done it. But I want to talk about Tan and I want to talk about Devilman Crybaby. I only want to talk about Devilman Crybaby because I watched it last night. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I don't love myself and why I continue to treat myself so poorly. But it was last night and I had just got through watching a YouTube video. Well, not just got through. I had recently watched a YouTube video about like 20 different LGBTQIA plus animes that you should be watching for Pride Month, something like that. And they mentioned Devilman Crybaby, and I remembered that like months ago, me and Stevie were looking for some anime shows to watch, and Devilman Crybaby came up on the Netflix queue. And I didn't watch it at the time. Instead, I watched that other one. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It's the one with the two girls who are, yes, Devilman Crybaby, the anime. Uh, I was watching the one anime about the two girls in the singing contest. I can't remember the name of the anime, but it had that one song with like all of the curse words in it that was like a meme for a while. Anyway, I'm digressing. So I remembered that Devilman Crybaby is on Netflix, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'll watch it because it's there, so it should be a fairly decent watch. It's only 10 episodes. I can handle that. That's not a big deal. I'm not going to spoil this show for anybody who hasn't watched it yet. I'm just going to give you my advice. Don't ruin your life the way that I ruined mine. I I don't know what I was thinking. I started watching it at maybe, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, and I finished around 12:30. It did not take me long at all, so it's not that it was so involved and took so long to watch. The problem is that it's so heavy. I started watching it at night, and by the time it was over, I was already like tired because the evening was late, and so my mind was already in a like not very secure kind of shaky place because of exhaustion. But then to watch a show that's so fucking bleak, to be at like 12:30 at night and you're watching this show and you're just thinking, "My God, the trauma. The trauma. Why is this happening? Why is everything like this?" I just I should not have done that to myself. I should have watched it in brilliant blue daylight. I should have paced myself and done like an episode a day or something, cuz it's a lot. But it's also the structure of the anime is to where there should be no breaks. Like the way I watched it was the way I feel like you're supposed to watch it. Not necessarily the time of day. I still think you should watch it like in brilliant daylight. But like every episode where it cut off before the credits was absolutely where the next episode started. So it wasn't like it wrapped up and then it started in a different place in the next episode. It was continuous. It really was like a 2.5 hour movie, but just somebody chopped it up a little bit. But that's really what it was. Anyway, let's get back to the point. The premise of the anime is that there are demons on Earth, and demons will take over people's bodies, and people should be made aware that there are demons so they can protect themselves from these demons. And there are two friends. There's Rio and Akira. Akira is a sweet kid, little boy, cries whenever other people are sad. Just a really kind-hearted, empathetic person. And then there's Rio, who's very cold, has no empathy, really doesn't care for other people at all. And they grow up as childhood friends, which is weird because one is kind of a sociopath and the other one, like I said, very empathetic, very nice, very sweet, kind of gets taken advantage of. Anyway, they're now like high school seniors, maybe almost adults, and they go about trying to discover not discover demons, prove the existence of demons, and then try to get the word spread that these demons exist to the general populace. But in the midst of trying to discover the demons, Akira becomes a demon, but not a full-on demon, like not a demon all the time, but a what he likes to call a devil man, meaning that he has his human heart, but he has these demon attributes such as strength, kind of monster ability, stuff like that. And so he goes about trying to kill pure demons because pure demons hurt humans. They kill humans. And he wants to protect humans because he's very empathetic. Again, like I said. And so a lot of the beginning of the show is about that. And then over time, it devolves into this meta commentary about like religious fear mongering and genocide and how people allow their fear to make them become the monster that they think that they're trying to protect themselves from. And so I did not know it was going to be that fucking deep, but once I started watching it, I could not stop. And just the casual, horrible cruelty of the show was so devastating to watch. Like, there's one character in particular who, in the beginning of the show, she really meant nothing to me. I kind of found her half annoying. By the end of the show, I wanted to weep for this character. Like, my heart just was like, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve, no one deserves this. No one deserves this. And then the ending, once you get to like the very, very ending of this show and you realize what it is, it's just, spoiler for just 30 seconds. Once you realize this is an infinity loop, boy, it pisses you off. Boy, it pisses you off. But that's all. That's the only spoiler I'm gonna give. That's the only spoiler I'm gonna give. But yeah, the show was so rough. The show is so rough. And I honestly, I'm not an anime head. In fact, this is the reason why me and Mason, whenever we used to do our vlogs together, we only ever did, I think, maybe two animated shows. We did Given and we did, what do we did Given? No, we did three. We did Given, I Hear the Sunspots, because I think we did that, the anime version, even though there is a live action currently on Ikea. And we also did Yuri on Ice. Those were the three anime things we did. And every time we talked about the anime stuff, I always would talk about like the art style, and he would always say how I was wrong about how I felt about the art style. So we never really did a lot of animated stuff. The art style for Devilman Crybaby, in my opinion, was ugly. I hated the way the art looked in that show. Just my opinion. I don't know if the reason why the art style looked bad is because it was made in a different time period, and so that was the art style of the time. But I really hated a lot of the art style. But I thought that the style worked for the story that was being told because the art style was, in my opinion, kind of grotesque. And we're talking about demons and demonic presence and demonic actions. And so the art style very much worked for that. But also, like, if you're going to watch this, because I didn't say it before because I haven't talked about these things because I don't want to spoil the show. If you're going to watch this, you need severe trigger warnings. There's a lot going on in this show that is uncomfortable. There's a lot of religious discussion if you're really sensitive about religion that maybe you don't want to necessarily hear or experience. If you are very sensitive to highly sexual things, there's a lot of boobs and butts and pubic hair and sex acts and stuff like that in this. So definitely don't watch it around your people. Um, there's a lot of gore, a ton of gore. This is very, very violent. So keep that in mind. So those are the main trigger warnings I would give you. And the reason why I was on the LGBTQIA plus recommended list is because there is a character named Koda who had a boyfriend. I think his name was Junichi, maybe. So that was a relationship that was very briefly discussed, but it was a deep relationship. Um, you might say that there is a little bit of a relationship between Rio and Akira, a little bit of romance there, but it feels very one-sided on the romantic spectrum, honestly. I feel like Akira was more in love with Miki than anybody else. Um, yeah, so there's that. And then there might be a small hint of lesbianism between Miki and Miko. Um, if it is, it's probably one-sided. I think Miko loved Miki more than Miki loved Miko. But that's all I had to say on that one. There's a lot of exploitation, sexual exploitation in this too. Thought I'd mention that. But yeah, I watched it in one go, and it was a lot. It was a lot. But that's all I had to say about that. But I needed to talk to somebody because it was almost 1 o'clock in the morning last night, and I'm like, I have no one to tell about the devastation. I have no one to tell about this traumatic event that I have been exposed to. Does no one know how horrible this was? Ah! So I just wanted to have somebody to talk about that with, because, like, seriously, I can't be the only one. Now, I want to talk about the reason why you might be here. Let's talk about TAN. I know I said I was gonna do a video talking about like all the recent disbandments, that kind of thing, and I intend to talk a little bit about some of these disbandments. I will be honest with you. I think the biggest disbandment there is to talk about is Mireille, only because they were from a much larger label, and the fact that they disbanded because the success wasn't there for them is surprising because usually groups from bigger labels do better. Like, that's really the main thing to talk about there. Because I want to say Murray is on the same record label as Card, and the fact that Murray, a group that started after Card, is now disbanding, it's kind of a big deal. It kind of shows that, like, the record label is going to hell. But I'll be honest with you, the reason why I'm not sure if I want to do a full video on the disbandments is because for a lot of these groups, I really don't have a lot to say about them in terms of their music. I didn't follow a lot of these groups. And high key, low key, if you were with me when I reviewed the season of Produce that one of the members of Murray was in, then you already know I don't really like that kid. I really don't like that kid at all. And so I don't really have favorable things to say. I'm sure the rest of the group is lovely, but you know who I'm talking about, Jade. I know that's your baby, but I did not like that kid. And so they built a whole group around him. And I remember thinking, this is a terrible idea because he's not that charismatic. Like, okay, hot take here. And I only say this because we're family, we're close. You're not gonna rat me out to other people. This is gonna be kept between us. The season of Produce that I watched, that led to the creation of the group X1, who we found out there was a bunch of riggery and all that other stuff happening with that season. I remember watching that season and thinking this is the most queer baity season of Produce that I've ever seen. Now, that was at that time. I heard that the season of Produce that created Zero Base One is even more queerbaity, but they don't call it Produce anymore. They call it Boys Planet. But I remember thinking that that season of Produce was super queerbaity. And he was the main one that was like, can I sit on your lap? I know I'm a little bit older, but can I call you young? Like, I'm jealous because you didn't want to be in a group with me. Like, I hated him. I hated him. I hated him so much. And so I remember his personality and his antics on the show were so extreme, in my opinion, that I could not even focus on what his actual talents were. And even now thinking about it, I don't remember him having been known for being a very good vocalist, a very good dancer, a very good rapper. I think he was mostly known for being a visual, and a very mid visual at that, but just somebody who really played off of the idea of, like, I'm little and I'm cute. Like, if there was a role in K-pop boy bands that was just like twink, that would have been his role. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory term. I'm just saying, like, if there was like a role that somebody needed to fill in order for them to have like an audience or a fan club, that would be his role. Like, I am the group twink. But other than that, like, I can't think of those vocals standing out. I can't think of the dancing standing out. I don't think he rapped at all. And as a visual, again, mid, unless you have a fetish for young boys, because he has a very young boy face. And that's not personally my speed. That's not what I prefer when it comes to physicality. But again, I'm also like a 45-year-old woman. It would be really weird for me to sit up here and be like, oh, I like my boys who are like teenagers. That would be disgusting. That would be absolutely disgusting. I don't feel that way. So, yes, Dong Pyo. So, I didn't see it for him. I didn't see it for his group. And then it felt like when they came out, they crafted the group more towards what concepts would work for him rather than for the rest of the group, maybe. But again, I don't know the other members of that group, so I don't have a lot to say about them. But I feel like their disbandment is probably one of the bigger disbandments to talk about. And I just don't have the energy for it because, again, I don't have any positive energy towards him, and he's really all I know of that group. So I just wanted to be candid with you in terms of having the disbandment discussions. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get the list of like all the disbandments for 2024 so far, and I'm gonna try to listen to one song from each of those groups just to let you know like whether or not I see it for them or if I saw it for them. But yeah, that's where that's going. But Tan. Tan, I want to talk about because I want to talk about them. Not because anyone's forcing me to, not because I feel like they're the most important group that disbanded because, again, I really don't know much about the other groups. I want to talk about TAN because out of all of the groups that people are like, you need to listen to this group, you need to listen to that group, they're the one that I feel like I wish somebody had told me sooner. I wish somebody had told me sooner. So Tan, I put some notes together because I knew there was some information that I would miss if I did not write it down. So please forgive me if I start looking down. I really want to talk about it in the way that in my mind I wanted to talk about it. So I needed to have it written down in order to do it right. Okay, so ah, okay. So Sarah remembers that series of videos because I if you have been a long time fan, then you will know that I only ever did one full season of Boy Produce, and that was the produce season of X1, and I did like every episode, and boy, I gotta tell you, I fucking hated that kid. I hated that kid so much. Anyway, let's keep going. All right, so Tan. Tan is a group that I did not see it for because they they had a bad name. Let me just be honest. I'm going to be honest here. They had a horrible name. Now, I did not know that TAN stood for it's like to all nations, I believe is what TAN stands for. All I knew is that their name was TAN, and I remember thinking, that's a horrible fucking name. Because if you're trying to look up a group and you just type in the word TAN, all you're going to get is like Shein outfits and Kardashian mansion interiors. You're not going to get this K-pop group. And even if you put like TAN K-pop, when they first came out, maybe you got it more, but I think now you get like TAN K-pop outfits. So I remember not really seeing it for them. And then after a while, I remember the only time I would ever hear their name is when Ashley Epidemic would talk about her getting ready to take a flight to Korea or a flight to Japan to go see them, which I was like, wow, she really must stand the new goose because I didn't get it because she and this is another thing. This is something I'm going to talk. I feel like I need to talk about it in a dedicated video. I don't know when that will happen, but let me just say, I was talking to Mason when I went out to go visit him in California, and I said to him at that time that I noticed I don't really pay a lot of attention to the new boy bands that are coming out. I'm talking about Rise, I'm talking about the new NCT team. Like, there's a lot of groups that TWS, there's a lot of younger groups that I don't pay any attention to. And I posited the idea that maybe the reason why I don't pay as much attention to the new younger groups that are coming out is because I feel like they're too young for me to look at. And I told him, I'm like, does that make me a fake fan? The fact that their listenability for me is dependent on my ability to thirst after them. And I'm like, well, I don't feel like that's true because a lot of the groups that I enjoy, I don't necessarily find like a sexual interest in, and I'm not trying to get graphic here. I'm not going to, but like there's a lot of groups that I like, especially like girl groups. As a straight woman, I don't have sexual attraction to these women, but I enjoy their music. So I don't have to be sexually attracted to you to enjoy your music. But it made me wonder if maybe some of the boy groups I have liked in the past, I liked them because I was attracted to them rather than I liked them because I like their music. Now, I will say this, the music has held up. Like, I don't think about how a lot of these groups look anymore because I just listen to the music and the music brings good memories to me. It makes me feel good. But yeah, I just wonder if because of the way that K-pop standom has kind of been marketed over several years, if they've made it to where when it comes to girls, it's men who are supposed to like a group based on attraction, and women are encouraged to like boy bands based on these fantasies that people have in terms of sexual attraction. But like I said, I don't feel sexual attraction to the groups that are my favorites. Like I look at somebody like Minho, who I can say absolutely is an attractive, beautiful man. Minho is fucking gorgeous. Like he's perfection. But do I feel like I'm gonna fuck Minho? No. One, because I don't really think that Minho is straight. And I'm not saying that to be homophobic or anything towards him at all. I say that because like just that's not the vibe I'm getting from him. The vibe I'm getting from him is that he's looking for other men at the gym. I don't think that he likes ladies at all. And even if he did, I'm also not a delusional person. I don't think that he would be attracted to me. I think he's very beautiful, but like if he approached me on that kind of time, I'd be like, boy, quit playing. Like I would never take it seriously. Even if he was butt naked in the street hollering my name, I'd be like, why are you doing this? Do you need me to call you a doctor? Because I just don't see it for the two of us together. You know what I'm saying? However, Shiny's music holds up for me. Shiny's music absolutely holds up for me. Like, God, I wouldn't have gotten a tattoo because I think they're sexy. I got a tattoo because I love them as artists and I love the music. So I say all that to say, I had quit paying attention to a lot of boy bands because that is kind of the dynamic that my mind was going to. And so that's the reason why I was like, okay, maybe I didn't pay attention to Tan because again, the energy I was getting from Ashley was very much I'm going to see them because I love them as both people and fine human beings. But I really feel like I didn't hear her talk that much about their music when she would talk about going to see them on Twitter. And so I just never really checked into their music because I was thinking Ashley is visiting them and traveling for them on kind of a fan slash fetish type of vibe. Not insulting you, Ashley. I'm not saying that you're wrong for wanting to be out there. It's not wrong for you to be attracted to people. I'm just saying, like, the vibe felt like more of an attraction thing than a musical appreciation thing to me. But again, all I saw was the snippets on Twitter. I didn't see any of her YouTube videos about them. We had never had a personal conversation about them. So I don't want to misrepresent her interest in the group, especially because now I've listened to them and I get it. But anyway, I had never really paid attention to Tan because, again, this whole complex with younger boy bands, trying to get over that shit. So when I asked you guys for music to recommend for me while I went on my drive to California and back, Tan was one of the groups that was recommended to me. I don't remember the name of the person who recommended Tan. I'm so sorry, but I have to say thank you so much for the recommendation. I decided to listen to Tan's entire discography. Why? Because it's not that long. Like literally, I think they were a group for 2 years, a little over 2 years, so there's not that much music to have to consume. And I'm so glad I did because I found at least 10 songs that I really truly liked that were available for listening on Spotify. And I'm going to tell you about all those songs. That's the reason why I have notes. But just a little background on Tan. They are a project group. and project groups piss me off because project groups like to disband. But they were a project group that was a part of a show called Wild Idol, and the show aired from I think September 2021 to December 2021, but it was like a reality show with like outdoor wilderness type of shit as well as like singing and dancing and stuff, which all I have to say is this: why? Why do they have to do wilderness activities in order to be a part of a singing group full of boys? That doesn't make any sense. And I had to watch several TAN videos in order to talk about this list of songs I like. And the wilderness thing really only ever came up in one video, the Fix You video, where they were actually like legitimately outdoors, I think. But other than that, like, I don't see where the wilderness aspect comes into being a boy band. Everything they did was pretty cosmopolitan looking, a lot of matching suit type energy. So I really didn't get that. But anyway, I'm digressing here. They premiered, I want to say, end of 2021, beginning of 2022, and they promote in both South Korea and Japan. So they have videos in both countries. They release songs in both languages, so they're back and forth. Like I was telling you, Ashley would fly to South Korea, but she'd also fly to Japan to go to their fan meets. And I have to say, one of the things that I wish somebody had sold Tan to me with was the idea that they basically culled the best of second gen K-pop, because Tan gives me a lot of shiny vibes. They give me a lot of Beast vibes. Like, it's very in the pocket, you know? And I enjoy those things. I enjoy Beast a lot. I enjoy Shiny a lot. So very up my alley. But they have a really nice vocal team, and from the way it looked to me, looking at the videos, listening to the songs, they only have one rapper, and his raps are never intrusive. I love that. I First of all, I blame Robbie from Vix. I should blame Top from Big Bang, but no, I'm gonna put it squarely in Robbie from Vix's lap because he, to me, set the standard more than anybody else. Uh, Big Bang definitely took a cue from like American pop music in that, you know, if you look at New Kids on the Block, if you look at uh well, New Kids on the Block is really the only one I can think of. But like if you look at American boy bands and then you look at American R&B hip hop music from the early 2000s, it would be like a singer and a rapper, a singing group and a rapper, right? And so Big Bang came out, of course, with two rappers in the rest of the singing group. And that kind of blueprint became the default in most of K-pop. Almost every K-pop group is like a bunch of singers and a rapper, or a bunch of singers and two rappers, or sometimes if you're really, really ambitious, a bunch of singers and three rappers. Ooh, I'm looking at you, Blumpy. So I think that became kind of the blueprint. But it used to be, in my opinion, there was a lot more work done to make it to where the songs would incorporate the rappers in a way that you could tell, like, this is where the rap verse is supposed to be, or if the rapper chimed in there, it was to accent whatever the singer was doing. And then Vix. Robbie from Vix has one of the most, and I've said this before, so this is not new stuff, has one of the most piercing, annoying rap vocal tones in all of K-pop. And he would start Vic's songs in a way that would just throw you off of the song before you could even get in the song. Like, I think of the earliest instance of this being Starlight by Vix. You are my starlight. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. Please shut your mouth. Please don't ever talk again. And there were so many songs by Vix that I felt like Robbie would ruin once he opened his fucking mouth. And so after Vix getting popular and having such an annoying rapper in their group, I felt like all bets were off at that point. It became whoever in the video or whoever in the group has like the most awkward sounding voice and cannot sing, that is who needs to be the rapper. And I just There have been so many times where I've heard songs that I thought were really good, and then the rapper cuts in, and I'm just like, okay, I guess I can never listen to this song again because the rapper has ruined this for me. And so I really appreciate the fact that Tan has a rapper who works within the context of whatever the song is, because I just cannot stand that rapper who all of a sudden feels like fucking nails on a chalkboard in the middle of like a love ballad. Like, I cannot stand that, and it happens way too much. You know who's very guilty of that, and it should be to no one's surprise? NCT. NCT 127. There are times when I just want to stitch Taeyong and Mark's lips up. Just like, here, sit this one out, baby. Don't say a word. Just go sit over there. Sit over there. I will take a banana milk, sit over there. Let the rest of us enjoy this beautiful song. Because it's just, it is grating. It is grating. But Tan, they have a rapper that makes sense, and that makes me happy. So yeah, I was really excited to listen to them. Also, like I said, in terms of culling the best out of second gen, the reason why I say culling the best is because there were a lot of moments in both the music videos and in the songs where I'm like, this song or this moment reminds me of this other thing. And it would always be me thinking about a song that was brilliant and being like, oh, this is what this reminds me of. And in my opinion, that really made me feel like, wow, whoever is putting together the discography for these kids, they're really learning their lessons from the masters here. And so that was another thing that really endeared me to this group. Now, they are disbanded, and I know people are sad, but to be honest, I don't think their marketing team knew how to market them, especially considering like their name was Tan. Their marketing team was already messing up. But like, I was looking at the views for a lot of the videos, and the highest charting or the highest viewed video on their channel was like 5.4 million. There was a performance video for one of the songs on here that I really liked the song, and the performance video didn't even crack like 75,000. Like, there's really low views on some of their later stuff compared to some of their really early stuff right after the show went off the air. And it just made me really feel like I get why you had to disband, because if the marketing's not good, if you can't move out of like niche idol status, you're just throwing money away. Because one thing I will say is like their company gave them decent videos. Like, the videos are not bad videos. The videos don't look cheap in my opinion. Like, they're good cameras. They have nice clothes. Like, you could feel that there was some money behind this, but there just wasn't enough care taken to try to figure out where Tan would fit in the market or make Tan something special in the market. And when I say that, I mean appearance wise, because that is probably my main critique of Tan and one of the reasons why I think they didn't do very well. Tan, in giving you very much second gen vibes, they wore a lot of coordinated clothing. And I don't know, I just don't feel like that's what the boys are doing nowadays. Like, when's the last time you saw a fourth generation boy band with everyone wearing the same style suit? Everyone wearing like a black cold shouldered two-piece suit. It just doesn't happen like that. Most of the time, they're wearing streetwear. They're wearing the same type of stuff that kids are wearing to college, to school. They're not really wearing coordinated outfits unless they're like on stage. If they're on tour, then they'll wear like coordinated stuff. But in the videos, most of the time, people are wearing casuals. And so it was one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I think that they were too close to second gen, maybe because they were kind of behind what contemporary audiences of their peers, like the teen audiences, are really looking for when they're talking about a boy band that they want to stand. So that was my main critique, is I think they had a bad name. I think they were marketed well. I think they should have been styled a little bit different. And I think if they were going to lean into second gen, then they should have tried to cultivate a Nuna audience, maybe. But yeah, I think that there's some things, there were some missteps there that contributed to them really losing steam fairly early on. But enough talking about, the reasons for the demise. Let's talk about things that I love. So I've got a top 10 song list in no specific order, but I'm just going to be honest with you. This really is like a top 8 if I'm being really, really honest, because one of the songs on here is a cover, and then one of the songs is a part one, and then a full song. So, like, there was a snippet of a song, and then there was a full song. I like the snippet, I like the full song. So, let me just talk about that one as number one and two right now, but this is in no particular order in terms of favorites. This is just the songs that I liked on Spotify that I could go back and be like, oh yeah, these are the 10 songs that I put like on. So let's start with Fix You Part 1. Fix You Part 1 is basically the first verse and like the chorus of the full song for Fix You. Kind of like kind of like House of Cards by BTS. The song does not sound like House of Cards. Don't, that's not what I mean. What I mean is, like, when House of Cards was first released, it was released in like a short version, and then when they did the big repack, they did like a longer version. So Fix You is like that. Like, the first release of Fix You is, I want to say, maybe under 2 minutes. And then there's a longer version with a full video. And I love this song. This song very much reminds me of Fiction by Beast. Even the way they say fix you kind of reminds me of Fiction. And they have this, ooh, I can't describe more of it, but I just really think that this song, of all of the songs that they have that they've done, reminds me the most of Second Gen. Um, the video for it is a video that takes place, like, I don't know, in Spain or Italy or something. It takes place wherever there's a beach. There is a beach for this video, and they have like half of the video they're in a studio, and then half of the video they're on the beach, which I don't know why that's the case, but it was really funny because when I was watching the video and they were doing choreography on the beach, um, you could tell that like they only had maybe a couple of days in this location to get this thing filmed, because there were some drone shots where you could see them dancing on the beach and it looked like they were alone, but then like close-up shots where the sun angle had changed and it was like a lot brighter, that they would be dancing and there would just be like random beachgoers walking in the back, and I'm like, oh wow, I guess you just had to get it in when you could get it in. But the song, I really, really liked it. I thought that the way that the vocals were done was really nice. I love the way that the rapper fits into the song on this one. Like, he didn't really stand out, but he had his own space, which I appreciated. Also, the acting on this video, who hurt them? Like, in the video, there's a couple of members that are full on sobbing in this video. And I was like, maybe they're like looking at acting careers after this, and that's the reason why they're going so hard in the paint, because they were really crying very hard in this video. But Fix You is one that I think if you like Fiction from Beast, if you like Error from Vix, I think you'll like Fix You. I'm not saying it's as melancholic, but there's something about the melody that feels really familiar, and that's why I recommend it and compare the two, because I feel like if you were to do a mashup of Fiction and Fix You, that you probably wouldn't have to do too much work to make that mashup happen. So that's my recommendation there. The next song, and that's one and two. The next song I want to talk about is Do Do Do. Now, it's not like the Blackpink did it it's not like that. It is a very different thing. First of all, the song opens up kind of like Glee acapella style. If you know, you know, but like the Glee transitions, it's that kind of acapella style that it opens up with, and then after it gets going and the instrumentals pop in and everything, it has a very kind of like runway fashion show vibe to the music. Like, it's very kind of cold and pulsing and driving. It's got these like camera sound effects in the first verse, like it sounds like pictures, like someone's camera's going off, and it has a lot of like finger snap sound to it. I don't know. I just think it's a really cool song. I could definitely see it as the type of song that you would hear in an H&M or something. Um, and one of the things that I thought was so funny is that the video for this song, it's like all these random set pieces, and the sets remind me of a lot of other like new group, I can't even talk, a lot of Nugu kind of third generation videos. I can't explain it well, but if you're familiar with like early third gen videos, a lot of the doo 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 video reminds me of third gen music videos. But one of the things that immediately stood out to me watching the doo 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 video is that the opening of that video is very much like the underwater scenes from Cry by M Black. And when I tell you, I was like, my second gen heart can't take this. My second gen heart can't take this. In Black to me is one of the greatest tragedies in all of K-pop. Like I just I will always feel like they should have been more than what they ended up being, and that the only reason why things failed for In Black is because somebody put a fucking curse on that group. I don't know who, I don't know why, and I don't know how, but I feel like somebody legitimately like buried a voodoo doll in the ground for In Black, because it was so bad in terms of like their bad luck that In Black had announced when their final single was going to come out. They had warned people ahead of time, we're about to disband, things can't go on, and they filmed a video, they did packaging, all everything. They put everything together to give you their final product. And like I think Gio lost his voice. I think Sunko got sick. Like it just they couldn't even hardly do their final stages because they were falling, literally physically falling apart. And I think about that constantly. I think about that constantly, about how they couldn't even have their final stages because the bad juju that had been put on them like whooped their asses so bad. So then when I saw like the members fall into the water, I was like, okay, okay, someone someone is learning from the pros. But if you want to be introduced to this group on like some really cute way, I recommend Doo Doo Doo. I think you really like them. All of the songs I'm talking to you about, I recommend. So there's not one I recommend over the other, but I just think like if you want to get the vibe, definitely Doo 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 is the most average of their videos because they have a lot of performance videos on their YouTube channel, and a lot of their performance videos take place in rooms just like this video. A lot of their videos take place in rooms that look just like this video. All right, next is Our Youth. So, Our Youth is a song that I described here as very mellow, echoey hall ballad. When I mean echoey hall, like, how do I describe this? You know how they have like those kind of ASMR music videos on YouTube where it's like listening to Bad Romance in an empty dungeon club, and they have like sound effects that change the acoustics of the song. This has a very like echoey hall sound. Like this was recorded in an echoey hall. I don't know how else to describe it. The reverb on it. This song was written by a member for their fan club, which I need somebody to explain this to me because I didn't see this online, but apparently the fan club for TAN is called Soda. I don't know what that means. But I would love for somebody to tell me. But the song's called Our Youth, and I'm going to make a wild comparison. I need you to not hurt me. Please don't hurt me because this is going to be one of two very wild comparisons I'm going to make here. Um, Part of this song reminds me very much of Butterfly by BTS. Now I like Butterfly. I mean, I have talked extensively about how BTS before Blood, Sweat and Tears was like really on fucking fire. Not that Blood, Sweat and Tears is bad. I just think that things changed a lot for them after that. But like prior to, BTS really had it. Like they were getting it done. Everything was perfection. But yeah, Butterfly. If you like Butterfly by BTS, I think you will like Our Youth. I feel like it has a very similar feeling, a very kind of like outdoors, sunshine, but also kind of reflective feeling to it. If that makes any sense, I don't know. I try very hard to describe music in a way that's visual, but I'll be honest with you, I'm sure a lot of my visual references don't work for everybody. So if this is not a great description for you, I'm so sorry. I'm not a professional music critic. I do my best. Next, let's talk about Heartbeat. Heartbeat is the song that made me want to do this video. Like straight up. I knew after I heard this song, I have got to talk to y'all about Tan because Heartbeat is supernatural. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. I don't need to know. Uh if you've ever heard Supernatural by NCT, the song that probably has a shiny demo somewhere, uh Heartbeat is supernatural. Heartbeat is supernatural. That's all I have to say. There's no better descriptor for me to give you for this song than supernatural. And if you don't agree with me, leave a comment down below. Seriously, if you listen to Heartbeat, I've almost called it Supernatural Girl. If you listen to Heartbeat and you don't hear the supernatural comparisons, if you feel like they are leagues apart, please tell me more about what you think it does sound like, because from the very first moment I heard it, I'm like, I know this song, but it was another group singing it. And this was also the song that made me feel like, okay, I've been listening to a few of their songs by now. Why is it that I feel like they would be like the shiny little brother group? Like this, because they have such second gen vibes, because of a lot of like comparison things, I really feel like they would be like a good younger brother match for Shiny. Um, no one can be Shiny, obviously. And I know people are like, well, it should be an SM group who would be like the younger brother group for Shiny. Yeah, that does make sense, but not really because SM's not on that kind of time anymore, honestly. But yeah, Heartbeat is it's supernatural. Even the way that the video looks, it reminds me very much of Supernatural by NCT. Okay, let's keep going. The next song I want to talk about is Adrenaline. Adrenaline, another song that is very kind of fashion show esque. It has a very empty chorus. Like it has a verse, and then when it gets to the pre-chorus, the sound kind of drops down, and it's a very empty style chorus, which was popular at the time. There is a performance MV for that song on their channel if you want to watch it. I noticed during the performance MV that they have this one signature move that they do. That's like, I'm not doing it. It's like a wrist smelling move. I can't get my wrist to do what their wrist does because my wrist is bigger. But anyway, I noticed they did that move in the Fix You choreography, but they also do it in the choreography for Adrenaline. And again, just like I said, it's very kind of, I don't know, it reminds me of Jealous, the song Jealous a little bit. Not the Nick Jonas, but the K-pop Jealous song. Jealous. Anyway, I think you guys would like it. I thought it was cool. I like fashion show H&M music myself. I'm a big advocate of like just really silly walk hard fashion runway music. So, yeah, this worked for me completely. I really liked it. The next song I'm going to say, I need you to understand that when I first saw this song's name on the track list, I was like, are you kidding me? Because just the name of the song itself connotates one thing, the way the song sounds, totally different. I would love to know why they chose the name for this song, because the name for this song, I don't speak Korean, so maybe I don't understand. The name of this next song is Love is an Open Door. Now I know what you're thinking because I was thinking the same thing before I heard the song. I remember thinking, why are they covering this Disney song? Why would you make a cover of Love is an Open Door on your album? That makes no sense. Love is an open door. Like an odd choice. An odd choice for sure. It's not that at all. It could not be further from that if it tried. This song is so sexy. This song is it's like Tame and Sex Dungeon music, but like the beginner version. Like when you're just getting like the rules of consent being kind of drilled in before you can really go into like the big boy room. This is the music that plays there. This is nothing like Disney. Nothing at all. And as I was listening to it, I'm like, Not only does this sound like like Taman, but this sounds like a specific Shiny song, and I need to confirm because this is driving me crazy. Like I listened to the song 3 or 4 times in a row, trying to figure out what sound is this? Because not only is this like Taman's Sex Dungeon, but this is a specific song that I have heard Taman's voice on before, is what this reminds me of. Then I realized, and once I realized what this song reminded me of, I'm like, oh baby, I have to tell the people. I have to share this with the crew. This song sounds like Code. Code by Shiny? Let's crack the code. This song sounds like Code. And that made me extremely happy because to me, Code is the best song that Shiny has put out since Jonghyun passed away. Like, real talk. Out of all of the music, I'm talking about everything on Story of Us, I'm all of it. Code is the best song they have put out in a post Jonghyun Shiny. Really and truly. I don't think at the time that Don't Call Me came out, I realized how good Code was because I did not realize how rare Code would be. So let me just, again, another tangent, moving off the subject, but after Jungin passed away and Shiny did the trilogy, I was just like, you know what? I like the music here, but of course, I miss Jonghyun's voice, and I feel empty because his voice is not here. But that's just, that's just grief. That's all that is. I'm not in a proper place to appreciate this series of albums because I just miss my friend? And then when Don't Call Me came out, I remember hearing Don't Call Me and being like, okay, this is different for the group, but the more I listen to it, the more it grows on me. It's okay. But then when I got further into the album and I heard Code, it was like the first time that I got the OT5 feel from an OT4 song. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some bangers on all of the post Jonghyun Shiny stuff, but that OT5 feeling, or not even that, the feeling of a song that doesn't feel like there's a voice missing was Code for me. And so Code is very, very special to me. Like it is probably in my, honestly, truly, it's probably in my top 10 of Shiny songs of all time. Like from start to finish. Code is that girl for me. And I think one of the reasons why Hard was such a the reason why Hard was such a hard album for me to really be jazzed about is because there was no moment on Hard that replicated the feeling I got listening to Code. The first time I heard Code, it took my breath away. And I did not realize how special that feeling and reaction was until way later. Like I remember talking effusively about Code when it came out. Like I didn't call it dog shit or anything. I told everybody how good Code was. But it wasn't until later, especially going through the Hard era, that I was like, wow, Code was really a moment in time. It really and truly was a moment in time. And so hearing Love is an Open Door and having it trigger thoughts of Code really like just settled something warm inside the pit of my heart. And so that's the reason why I wanted to make sure I mention that and just tell you, don't be afraid of the title of the song. Like it does not sound like that. Okay, next song is Surfin'. And Surfin' is a song that, I don't know, it does feel beachy, but not beachy like Surfing USA or something like that. It feels beachy in that if you were in a convertible top down driving along the highway on the way to the beach, this would be a song that you'd want to hear in the car. It has really good backing harmonies in the pre-choruses, so look out for that. But it's cute without feeling aggio. It reminds me of like a good sister summer song in a way. Not that it's at all comparable to Sistar. I don't want to give you the wrong idea and think you're gonna hear a Sistar song. That's not it. But it's like one of those like beachy songs that's like beachy, but like I'm fun and I'm young and I'm headed to the beach with my friends and we're gonna have a great time once we get there. That's the vibe. But not like, oh, the beach. Like not that kind of thing. Just like really cool people going to the beach. Okay, the next song I'm going to talk about is Walking on the Moon. Now, Walking on the Moon is the video on their YouTube channel that has the most views. It has 5.4 million views. It is another very kind of low-key, sexy song. I think you'll appreciate it. Another You're Gonna Kill Me comparison that I want to make. The pre-chorus of this song reminds me exactly almost of the pre-chorus for Home by BTS. And I've told you guys before about like how Home is an amazing song. I love Home. It is one of my favorite BTS songs of their later catalog. Like there's a 3-song run in the first of the Love Yourself series. It's like, yeah, there's like a 3-song, no, the second, not Her, Tear. There's a 3-song run there that I really, really appreciate. And then there's Home, which I believe was on the package. And this song, the pre-chorus reminds me of the pre-chorus for Home. It's got like finger snaps and piano. No, not finger snaps. It has hand claps and piano. If that makes any sense. Like that thing. It has that thing going on and then like piano playing at the same time. And I don't know, I think Walking on the Moon is a really great song. I recommend it highly. Probably one of the most approachable songs, and the video is also like really cute. They're outdoors, they're wearing like not matching outfits, which is nice. So I recommend that song. And now we're down to the last song of the top 10 that I want to discuss. This is Midnight. Now, unlike Love is an Open Door, this is actually a cover. This is a cover of Midnight by Beast. Ah! Okay, so I would like to, in my mind, I would like to think that Beast ended with the Midnight album. And I'm not saying that to be rude to Highlight, because I respect the fact that Highlight exists. I don't respect a certain member of Highlight that has since left the group. But I respect the fact that Highlight exists. I'm glad that there is a Highlight in the world. I'm always happy for second gen groups to be able to continue to live on, especially if they're able to live on in ways that are fulfilling to them and fulfilling to their fans. I say all that to say, I have not really even tried to listen to a full Beast project since Midnight. For me, Midnight is kind of where Beast ends. For me personally. Just for me personally. But, God, isn't that a highlight? Ha! Highlight. I didn't mean to make that pun. But isn't that like a high for a group to go out in somebody's memory on one of their best projects, on one of their most cohesive projects? Like, I think Midnight is an incredible song. An incredible song. And instead of doing it exactly the way that Beast did, instead they did it kind of like, I wouldn't say a cappella, but more like acoustic style. And they kind of stripped it down to make it acoustic, but they also did it like slower. So it's much more ballady than the mid-tempo original. But I feel like Midnight is a song that was actually probably meant to be a ballad instead of a mid-tempo, in my opinion, especially after having heard it as a ballad. I'm like, it should have always been this. And I actually think that there is a version of Midnight that is acoustic on the repackage for Midnight, because there was like a big expensive repackage of it that I never bought. Instead I had the one with the fucking mask that fell off. Anyway, I say all that to say, this is the last song from TAN I'm recommending, but it's a great recommendation in my opinion, because I think if you wanted to be able to compare the group vocally to other groups, this song showcases how vocally deep TAN was as a group, how they really did have some super talented singers on their team, and it's actually a tragedy that TAN did not get the marketing and success that their talent should have given them access to. I don't know what all the other members are going to do with their lives. I know there's some military time that has to be served. I think some people are going into acting. I don't know who's going to continue on with singing. I don't even know if they like each other. To be honest with you, they might have hated each other. Who knows? But they had a really great product when they were active. And I think of all of the groups that people have said, I would like you to listen to this, this was probably one of the saddest recommendations I've ever been given, because I discovered them entirely too late. Like, I literally discovered their discography right before I was being told they were going to disband. And that makes me sad, because I remember listening to the music and thinking, man, when they have a comeback, I'm going to try to listen to it. And instead, it was like, there will never be another comeback. This is the end of the line. Although we've come to the end of the road. Ah, sad days. Anywho, thank you for letting me talk to you about TAN for like 45 minutes. They're a great group, and even though they are disbanded, that doesn't mean you can't go back and listen to the music. I mean, they're probably not going to get any money from it, which is unfortunate, but I think it's a good idea to go back and listen to it, because these guys may have a second win. We don't know. We don't know which one of these members are going to go on to be with a different record label, who's going to show up in a drama. And in my mind, in my very kind of hopeful mind, I kind of just hope that, like, TAN will go on to have a second career life, and we'll all be a part of the group of people who's like, oh, I remember them from TAN. Like, that's the dream. So yeah, yeah, no, it's sad that they disbanded. It's really sad. But yeah, I think that, even though it's too late to kind of support them as a group, you might go back and listen to their music and discover that you really love the voice of some member, and you might decide to start following them on Instagram, and then you could be there to support them in another way. But yeah, it's TAN, spelled TAN, just like it says in the video description. If you go on YouTube, just type in TAN K-pop and you'll probably find them. But I've given you the 10 songs that I enjoyed the most out of listening to their stuff, even though their albums are good. They have really good B-sides. Some of the songs I listed on here are B-sides, to be honest with you. But the songs, in no particular order again: Fix You Part 1, and then Fix You the full version. Do. I'm saying it like that because I don't want you to think it's that Blackpink song, even though they are spelled the same. Our Youth, Heartbeat, Adrenaline, Love is an Open Door, Surfin', Walking on the Moon, and Midnight. Those are the songs I recommend. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to me talk about TAN. And also, if you're gonna watch Devilman Crybaby, like, watch it with a friend who cares, and ask them if they've got 3 to 4 hours to sit with you, because you'll need the first like 2.5 hours maybe to watch the full series, and then like another hour or so to like kind of cry and hug and maybe eat some pizza and drink a little bit, because I was alone watching Devilman Crybaby, and I kind of wish I wasn't. I kind of wish I had a support human with me, because traumatic, very much so. That was the vibe. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.